Hi, good evening, it's the student StarCraft AI Tournament's weekly broadcast, and as you can hear, it's winter again, and my voice is, well, has not yet fully departed, but it will not take long. And that way we are starting out with a nice game between Battlestar and Madmix. So, yeah, of course, recommendations, a little bit of a self-plug, but oh, look at here, we've got a really ugly, in-your-face gateway attack, all the probes coming off the line. Let's see how that's going to end. There is no income at this point for Battlestar. Battlestar is not making a zealot, that's a big mistake. Madmix isn't either, so yeah, now it is. And let's hope it's in the right gateway. Is it? Yes, it is, but so many probes coming off the line, that cannot be good. But the gateway gets cancelled, but Battlestar doesn't really know how to deal with this, with the ongoing pressure. All the probes are off the line, nothing is being made, not even a zealot, even though there is money in the bank. And you can see, oh, now they're going back to mining gas, which is not good at all. They've got 200, perhaps saving for a cyber core or something like that. It's really hard to say, and Madmix is just forging ahead, lots of money in the bank, could develop some backup plan in the rear. But it looks like that now, yeah, there we go. We've got the cyber core coming up, and all the probes still keep killing every pylon, every gateway there is. But with the cyber core, will now a goon be made? But there is no money. The only thing being mined right now for Battlestar is gas. And that's not good. On the other hand, Madmix is getting anything done either, so that's, that's quite interesting. We've now got 3 pylons, and one of them will power the gateway probably. And back at home, oh, we've got an expansion coming up, and the cyber core is being constructed in the enemy's base for good measure as well. So even though Battlestar is now trying to, is effectively blocking everything, but there is just too much stuff being built at a certain point, and Battlestar has got 400 gas, 0 minerals, and is just waiting for this to get right out of hand. And you can see now that stuff is being built over here as well. A couple of cannons, don't know really why, but the zealot, oh, there is one zealot just popped out, but it's heading straight back home. It doesn't want to have anything to do with all these probes. And now Battlestar is going back to mining. So I think that Battlestar could, it's building pylons for some reason, even though it doesn't really need to. Should be building some forces to fight back the ongoing aggression, but now Madmix is back at home with a probe count which is double. Army count for both players is still 0, so that doesn't make any sense. And Battlestar is still making pylons for some god knows why. But it is mining, so eventually might reach a certain level of income where it can make a goon or a zealot or something like that. But for the time being, nothing much like that. And the first forces of Madmix are going to arrive. Oh dear, this is just... oh, there are finally goons being made. Let's see if that can work any wonders, but right now we've got 2 goons for Madmix, and that surely will be the end, especially with the worker disparity being 2 to 1. And oh, the first goon is falling, but still the probes are doing every little bit of fighting. And one more goon coming up for Battlestar. Battlestar still... I don't really see this happening at this point, really. It was all too bungled. Oh dear. So this goon doing pretty well with the shields. One more goon coming up. But at this point the economy of Madmix is just too great for the prowess of Battlestar, and Battlestar will fall. You can see forces coming up. We've even got a scout in production. That's just BM at this point. And it's being produced right inside of the base of Battlestar, so yeah. There we go, no disruption web. That's a little bit of a minus for Madmix, but then again, this game is completely over. And I must say, this is, well, it's a nice game as far as the game goes. 1 goon doing some rearguard action, 2 goons now, so if Madmix keeps microing like a total scrub, but instead the probes are going down, and now I think there is a goon coming up, and these 2 goons of Battlestar are still alive, but I think once the probes are down, the forces of Madmix will go after the 3 goons, and that will be that. So no more income. Third base started for Mad Mix, and of course, have we got upgrades? No, only range, so pretty low tech. And yeah, that's that, as they say. So without further ado, let's hop into the next game. It was also a recommendation. It's TSMU random versus Marian Defecker's Killer bot. And Killer is going to play, well, doesn't really know what's going to play. Oh, we got 3 scouts going off for TSMU Terran. And now it's found the enemy. What will it do? Killer looks like it's going for another hatch. Started with an Overlord, of course, Overlord into hatch. And here comes the SCV train. Oh, good God. This cannot end well, possibly cannot end well. The SCVs will be too strong, and the spawning pool will take ages to finish. So, oh, that's not good. There is only one SCV left mining. And here goes the spawning pool. There is no money. And there is only one worker left for Killer. It's now being brought back home, hopefully to mine. Yes, it is. And oh, the SCVs are a bit, they can't really decide what to kill, and we've only got one SCV over here, which will mean that it will take a long while. Meanwhile, a Killerbot is going for a pair of Zerglings, one of which is sent off to the enemy base. Might wipe it out on its own. The other one is finally getting there as well. And Killer is sturdily mining on. Here come... Where are they? Where are those bloody Zerglings? I can't really see them. Oh, they're here. One is here. And TSMU is finally getting to grips with the hatchery somewhat effectively. Oh, and here comes... Oh, that would be great, actually, if Killerbot could manage Sunken. Yes, there it goes, because it will take a while. And where the hell are those bloody Zerglings? One is roaming over here, the other one managed to kill itself. We've got 2 Overlords over the base of TSMU. And now with 2 drones and the Sunken, I think that Killerbot is not yet fully out of this. But the spawning pool is in grave damage. Oh dear, they come after the lava. So let's see how this will go. Now TSMU, one SCV dies. And this Zerg is still right over there. So basically a restart and a relocation. I think that TSMU, going for a tank now. Has it got siege mode? No, it has not. We've got 1 Sunken, a handful of SCVs, 1 tank and some other stuff coming up. So tech-wise, TSMU is way ahead. But with this 1 Sunken over here, oh, that's a lot of... Oh, this is very brave for a lone tank. Could do with another Sunken. TSMU going for an expansion as well. Lots of tech, must be said, but eco-wise, TSMU is not really that far ahead, and Killer might actually try and do something with a couple of Zerglings or something. Instead, it's going for a hell of a lot of tech of its own. And now TSMU is getting into the mid-game with virtually 0 army, and is finally making some tanks and a science facility. Oh, good God. If this game wasn't already off the rails, this will prove it. Now, nice wall of Sunkens. Might be careful for tanks with siege mode, but here come the invincible muters of Killerbot, and they will find a tank which is completely defenseless, as is the other one. And now they'll find another tank as well. What are they doing, for crying out loud? What is so important over here that they need to be right there if they could have killed 2 tanks? They find this one again, they completely ignore it again. This base is found by TSMU and the worker is killed. But this army of 8 muters will have some stiff competition, because there are 6 Goliath, 1 Valkyrie and 1 science vessel. And knowing TSMU, yep, there we go, is going to make... ooh, the Valkyrie is getting caught. That's... they completely ignore it again, oh god. Meanwhile, this base is under heavy attack. The muters are being dispatched again, completely ignoring the Valkyrie, even though it's firing at them again, instead going after the siege tank. This is... oh god, this is painful to watch. Kill the bloody Valkyrie. This is complete rubbish. Muter count will plummet. 11, 10. Hello! Oh god. This is... they're completely crazy. Meanwhile, yeah, what the hell are we watching? The mutas are going off to, this base, and then they leave it alone again, going after a vulture while they have two badly damaged allies firing at them. Again. God, this is completely crazy. The muta count is plummeting like a leaden ball in Jupiter's orbit. And Jupiter's field of gravity, must say, because in the orbit it might still be flying circles, and that's exactly what they do, flying circles around two badly damaged allies. This is complete rubbish. Meanwhile, both players have stockpiled huge amounts of money. Killerbot has completely stopped producing anything, even though it's got 3 bases, lots of income. And TSMU is sort of still doing its thing. Oh, here comes a worker transfer. Going to fly past a Goliath, which will open fire. But it's just by itself, and Killer is not... Oh, it's making an armor upgrade. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And now I'm going to speed it up just a tiny little notch, because I don't think we're going to see anything out of Killer again. TSMU is sort of stalled. It looks like this game has completely... Oh, we got a Queen's Nest. Where is it? It's here. And now Hatch. Still 6k in the bank. TSMU is basically doing the same. This game might either time out or something may happen. Oh, worker transfer right back. Now both players have fallen silent, so... Nope, this isn't it. This game might time out. It's about who's got the best economy, and... Oh dear, what was that? Yeah, that's it. GG. Oh god. Oh god, another Killerbot game. So now it's Killer versus Stone. We all know what Stone is going to do. Like TSMU, we see the 3 scouting SUVs, and after that's done, I think they will all converge upon the hapless drones. And Killer, disregarding what the hell is going on, is just, oh, they're going after the hatch. This is complete rubbish. Yeah, you can't build a hatchery like that. Have another try. This one will maybe be successful or not. We've got 2 scouting drones out there. We've got a spawning pool, but with 5 or 6 SUVs is going to be a bit of a pest. And oh, Killer relocating to the far side of the map doesn't really want to. Oh, and there goes. Oh, you could transfer all your drones, or at least let them do something. Killer has got some money, can make some drones, but oh, here comes the worker transfer, and Stone is completely not scouting it, so that's... They're going back. Oh god. Oh, this is just too sad to watch at this point. Are they going to... Yeah, they're going to populate the natural, and they're going to long distance mine, while the SCVs have found the new base. And the old one as well. They're going to kill this, probably. Oh, this is such a load of rubbish. Yeah, there goes the spawning pool again. Here goes the long distance mining again. Now they're going to have to go back to this base. Meanwhile, the army of SUVs of Stones is pretty great. And Killer has got the money for a spawning pool, has got so much money for everything, but it's just not Killer's day today, I guess. So going for another hatch while this one is getting killed. The drones are being left alone by the SUVs. That's interesting. But now Killer hasn't got any money left. The SUVs aren't long distance mining. They have fallen silent. And yeah, now Killer leaves the game. But the game does not end for some reason. And this game is... this is complete rubbish. And Stone is not doing anything either, so that's... oh, they've found the by now neutral SUV, but they are... Oh, one is killing it. And meanwhile, it's the... oh, there is mining going on over here. So, yeah, that will now end the game. No, probably not. I think something must be horribly wrong with the replay viewer, but we're going to try one more game. It's another recommendation. It's Crazy Obvious versus TSMU Zerg, and this used to be all the rage, TSMU, with the fighting the heavy turtley Crazio, which it no longer does for the last couple of years, but TSMU made a lot of Lings and Hydras and Defilers, and the Defilers would consume Hydras and Zerglings without even checking if their energy max was reached. So yeah, that was those were pretty epic times, and you'd have concaves about 3 screens wide. So if this was the choke, TSMU's units would be in an arc around. I'll draw something in there, so like this. And then at a given trigger point where they reach a certain supply, they would just all converge upon the enemy, and that would be highly, highly entertaining. And you'd have swarms and plagues everywhere, and TSMU being wasteful as only a Siren Zerg can be. Crazy are now setting up shop for a very good defense, while also making a small contingent of Marines and Medics. We've got Stim, +1 in range, armor under construction, and Killer has to be really rather careful because you can't really stop that. Here comes the Spire. You need pretty good micro to stop a 2-base M&M push. 3rd base coming up for Killer now, so that's good. And I must assume that we'll have no mutas in production. Oh, now a couple. And how long can this go? Well, because Crazy is already venturing out now with 2 Vultures just killing some random... Oh dear, oh dear, that's a lot of upgrades. This Marine push will hit very, very, very hard now, even augmented with a couple of tanks. And that must be our Radiate, so Crazy is setting up shop, but I wonder if it is wise to let Killerbot take the map like this. It's going to... here we've got a muter. We've got a lot of mutas coming up, so we've now got 11 mutas. They found a Vulture, getting some back for all the Zerglings that died. And now Crazy is trying to take this base, and will Killer now TSMU contest it? You can now see the concave. TSMU doesn't really dare to engage at this point, and hasn't got the stacked muta micro that, for example, Killerbot has. But TSMU has got 4 bases, has got more workers than Crazio. Upgrade-wise, it's starting to look good-ish as well, but the thing is, you really need to fight a large engagement, and that's not something TSMU is awfully good at. Lots of stims going off here. Only 1 medic, it's pretty low. No, it's getting healed up, so that's good for Crazio. Crazio working on the +2 weapons, and +2 armor will be starting as well soon, I can imagine. TSMU, what's it doing? It's making a lot of stuff. We've got so many mutas, we've got 28 mutas, and if only they were ready to do some muta micro in a stacked cloud, that would be awesome. TSMU meanwhile taking another base. Crazio's main not even getting low, halfway there. And the composition at this point is complete rubbish. We've got a lot of Zerglings and a lot of mutas, but no actual fighting going on. We've got a lone Valk, and the mutas trying to micro it down, but not very effectively. Have the mutas got any good upgrades? Yes, they have got the +1, +2 air armor is being researched as well. And Crazio is just checking out the location for a new base. So the pressure is on Crazio. There is a huge Zerg army, and Crazio doesn't really dare to move out either. The question is, TSMU, will it fight? That Valkyrie is pretty low, but right now we've got the +2 armor, +2 weapons, and +3 may be started immediately, because the composition of Crazio is now such that it has got 63 Marines with 10 medics, and that's a lot of firepower. And TSMU, what's it doing? It's now making a lot of drones, mutas, but it's not actually fighting, so it's basically just producing units, letting them get killed, and then, oh, now it's a small incursion, but nothing major. And Crazio's supply blocked. Now with the last 2, no, it needs 2 more depots. TSMU is now plunging the concave into this small pocket of, oh dear, that's crazy. Units are so tough at this point. TSMU really needs defilers or something, and we've got a hive. We've got a lot of bases, we've got a lot of income, but at the moment TSMU is not really fighting, it's just losing units left, right and center. You can't really attack this kind of Terran army. At the bridges is good, but you're really going to need a little bit more stopping power than Muta Link. Look at all the irradiates going off, that's crazy. TSMU is plunging in supply, but Crazier is too, because the main is out, Natural's getting low, and there is only this third, while TSMU is getting more and more bases, and TSMU has got a better grasp on the map, now fighting at these bridges. This is a bit of a meat grinder. I don't know if TSMU should do that, but TSMU is pushing the enemy back in this area, and I think that's good. The siege tank will be overrun. There are hardly any forces left. This turret will complete, but the Zerglings are all over it, and with only one firebat, that is a tall order. But now in the bunker, it can do a lot of good. Crazier, however, cannot threaten TSMU's base, and now it is both players have wasted their armies, used up their armies, and Crazier is losing a lot of units, and it will take some time to... Oh god. I've got control of the others back. Now Crazio is besieged on all points because TSMU is just taking base on base. Crazio snuck out the base here, but Natural's getting very low. And if we look at the production tabs, it's just a handful of units versus an entire stack. And the Muters, once they got air dominance, and they should do something about these science vessels, to be quite honest. Yeah, now here they go. Oh, but we've got badly damaged science vessels. We've got a couple of Wraiths, we've got a couple of Valkyries. The problem, though, for Crazio is going to be that there is a huge amount of bling about. This base got cancelled, or wasted, haha. And now the last mining base of Crazio is under attack. We've got one bunker doing a lot of good work with the turret and the tank. But in the end, I fear there's just going to be too much stuff, because this is Crazio's Naturals mining out. And now, small look at the upgrades. Ooh, that's quite good. We've got Defilers coming up. And Crazio's army is not what it used to be. It's still holding strong because these units have got such good upgrades. +2 ground armor, +3 weapons. But TSMU is going to enter steamrolling mode. You can see still holding its ground just outside of reach. And Crazio now has got to be, oh, here comes the swarm. There's nothing underneath it, so that's a bit of an issue. And still the turret and the bunker doing quite well. More turrets in the rear, Valkyrie overhead, but the Valkyrie is deadish. Woohoo! Should be defensive Valkyrie mode for Crazio. Like all the science vessels, they can do a lot of good. And now TSMU is just going to throw its weight at the Natural, overrunning it slightly. Some turrets are holding, but Crazio hasn't really got the money to repair anymore. And TSMU will just keep doing what it likes to do when it's got every base. Oh, it hasn't got this one. Nearly every base on the map. Main's still not mining out, but now the Natural's out for Crazio. This base is completely ravaged, and now we've got a huge amount of stuff coming up for Crazio. Queens, Great Aspire, Defilers. Upgrade-wise, that is... Oh, the +2 weapons, ground attacks, only now starting. Right now there are way too many Muters, and I wonder if you're going to see an infested command center. No, we're going to see a dead one. And Crazio fought a good fight, but TSMU in the end had just too much time out on the map, and this is the end. That's the GG. And let's see, yeah, we've got one more game in the replay viewer. It's Adius and... well, of course, it's Seda spelled backward, and I got an email of Dan Gann saying that after having a look at the bot, it looks a lot like Seda. So, yeah, that's interesting. It's good to have Seda back, but I don't really know if who's behind the Adius bot, and if we can keep it on there without the permission of the Samsung team, but we'll have to look into that. For now, let's have a good game. We've got, well, call it Seda, just for the... I call it Adius. Adius. So, Adius, starting out with a bunker with 2 Marines in it, and then floating the bunker, and the first scouting probe is probably not going to get in. And I like that, because not many bots do that, just preventing scouting information at this point. The probe doesn't know if there is a natural command center or not. And it's basically playing blind versus a good Terran, and the same thing is being done by McRae, but I think that this SCV did see the Nexus, so if you are going to block scouting, better block it over here, then you can keep your Natural hidden a little bit longer. So siege mode is there, goon range is there, Small look at the composition. It's pure goon versus a more mixed... Oh, this is very interesting. That's a nice block, but I really wonder what is being done with that. And of course, 2 buildings with a bunker behind that. We've got 4 marines in there and some tanks behind that with repair. Ooh, only 1 tank with repair now. But still not something as a goon you would like to attack, not even on your own. So SSCAIT's getting away with the... or AD's getting away with the early stages now. Double lift of the game, lowering it again. That's neatly done. And McRave really ought to not get involved with this kind of stuff. Just do its thing and perhaps do a recall. That would be absolutely magnificent. We've got a dropship coming up, so... Oh, and the lift here it comes again. And now the tanks are moving out. And McRave has got a tiny army. No zealots at all. And yeah, taking pot shots at these buildings is okay, but you're going to get some on the nose from the siege tanks. ADS going for a 3rd. And this is already the 4th base of McRave. So McRave is doing okay, upgrade-wise, not really that good. And yeah, this is just going to... Oh, nice! That is so pro. Just bring these 2 buildings, which you are going to need anyway for your tech tree, as a sort of extra. Oh, this is... Look at this. This is beautiful play. Taking some half kind of a concave along the bridges, a couple of mines in front, vultures for support, and these 2 buildings landed just to absorb a lot of hit points. These goons won't have a chance in hell, as they are probably going to find out, but because it looks like they are posturing to get in there, and that's not something you should do. Dropship still stationary, and not really going to take part of the action. Upgrade wise, that's already the +2 weapons with these siege tanks. It's very impressive, and no upgrades for the gateway units for McRave. That I think is a mistake, because if you are going to play versus a mech terror, oh god, no, don't do it. Don't do it. It's pretty dangerous, and I feel like this kind of play is not really going to be worth it anymore versus Terran, because it's just going to come at you with a lot of siege tanks. And keeping tabs on this base with a pylon, I like that, but this is not going to work. There are way too many siege tanks. We've got 13, we've got not that many more in production. There's so many vultures. And I think if you've got too many vultures, you need to do your grouping excellently, because now the vultures are getting a little bit ahead and are getting clipped. Ooh, nice storm there. Where was that Templar? And shots are now being traded. Nice storm again. And you can see that McRave has got the upper hand in army supply, because the supporting units keep wandering off too far ahead, and these goons do a reasonable job at not getting shelled too much by the siege tanks, although the siege tanks are taking their toll. That said, there is, oh, a drop which I missed, but 2 goons and a cannon stop it short, and now it's 3 bases versus the map, and the siege tank count is going down. McRave is maxed. That's pretty impressive. Look at the production queue. ADS is doing okay, setting up a separate front, but must be careful not to get broken here. Nice storm right there, just 1 more sliver of life left on that tank. But this is going to be rather dangerous, because this base is very vulnerable, and if they reach this setting over here, that's going to be... But this base... Oh, that was a clutch mine hit for McRave. This base is now being broken, and ADS can't really afford to lose mining bases. This army is getting back, so this Protoss army is getting pincered. Now with an Arbiter overhead, it's good. And I think it would now be wise not to get caught up in this, because you can still lose. If this army clubbers that army, then moves straight at your natural, camps your choke, there isn't all that much production of McRave otherwise than in the main. And you can see how much damage... Oh god, look at that. McRave is really not really plumbing his supply, because it's got so much production at home, but this army was rounded up rather easily, and although the main's mine out, the natural's got some juice left in it. Oh, and the 3rd is down, so relatively low income situation for ADS at this point, and this push is really what's got to... This is do or die for ADS, and for McRave as well, because if it gets contained, it hasn't got the fancy micro with arbiters and air units to lift a contain like this. And although, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, McGrave is now countering, trying to kill the third. I think that's wise, but really ought to be careful about this thing over here. And oh, Alias is lifting the siege. I think that's a big mistake. Rather, you can't really win a base raid at this point, but the Natural's being overrun, and that's the last source of income for Alias. And McGrave is, what a macro monster this is. 3 cannons at every base, lots of money in the bank. And the Gateway Park must be out of, well, it's pretty decent actually, but nothing extravagant. And now Alias is torn between saving its main and pressuring the base of McGrave. But McGrave now with a lot of rallies, with a production tab like this, there are going to be a lot of rallies. And these siege tanks, wow, they're dishing out the damage by the bucket load. +3 is nearly finished and sort of holding. Well, sort of, that's a weak kind of sort of holding. Main is now lost, and this pocket of tanks eventually will die. We've got 28 army supply, and that's about it. We've got a High Templar without energy, we've got stasis. That's the recall. That would be absolutely magnificent. Great to see McGrave do a recall on that. Or perhaps just on the tanks, just fly an Arbiter over there and just recall a lot of stuff overhead. And I think that, oh, McGrave is going to retreat for one more time. The army is only 16 now. One of the tanks is stasis. There are units surrounding them from everywhere. And this is going to be the last comset, so then it will be increasingly difficult to help fight cloaked units. And yeah, that's the game. So really well done by McGrave. And I will have to, yeah, got 3 more games. Let's start with this one. It's Kael'Bot versus Gaoyuan Chen, and Chen is going to play, of course, Protoss, starting out with a pylon, no surprises there, and what comes after that is a gateway. So Kael'Bot going for a depot and then a barracks and another depot, so rather eco heavy. That must be said for both players, and this has become really the standard opening. It's just a gateway and then a cyber core, range starting immediately, and no goon yet. There are 5 marines. Where are they? They're scouting the map somewhat, and there are hardly any Protoss combat units left. Oh, we've got a handful of goons now, making their way over towards the enemy. Let's see. Oh, Gaon is really going right out of control, but only with 1 barracks. It's going to be hard to stop this number of gateway units, even with an SCV which doesn't attack anyway. 1 more marine. Oh, now 2 barracks, that's okay. And lots of SCVs mining everywhere, but no actual army. The army supply is 3, and only 1 of that is on the field. Meanwhile, Chen is just going to keep sending over goons. Goon army is now 12, and you can see the army disparity growing into a little bit of a thing. But Kael'Bot has got a lot of colonies, which may bring succor to the cause. Now, 3 barracks, I like that. 4 barracks, but hardly any supply, so that's going to be difficult. Now Chen will have to find all these other bases, and I think this is going to be a game of hide and seek with Kael'Bot taking a hell of a lot of bases. Oh, and Chen is oh dear, is going to occupy the main, surely not. That's going to be quite wild. The Marines liberate this base, while Chen keeps... 1 goon is going off elsewhere, but this is just going to be, I feel, about a lot of combat units being funneled into the main, while the map's going to be awash in Marines. Kaon does not really see the need to mine gas, and meanwhile the map is being blanketed in depots. Oh, we've got an academy, and we've got an eBay, but we've got no gas, and you can see this. There is a host of Marines patrolling the main, and the reinforcements are being soaked up surely, and there is about, I would say, 50 supply worth of gateway units, now about 60 here in the old main. And Kaon, what's it doing? It's not doing anything anymore. That's strange. Zealot is killing everything. There is still 6k in the bank, lots of barracks, but they are not doing anything. You've got the supply. Perhaps it's hanging on gas. It's got some gas thing queued in his build order and forgot to make a refinery, so that may be it. Oh, meanwhile Chen just doing its thing, building a nexus, no really No upgrades, just units sitting in the main. The probe is going to kill the command center eventually, which may prevent this game from timing out. Got a lot of games just balking out. I don't know if that's going to be an issue, because it's not good. When taking this base just... Oh, and here we go. The army wakes up and is going back to the main. Oh. I completely missed that. Right over there. That's how Marines are being made. And there is gas finally, so... oh god. And right outside the main where this 116 supply army now is, Chen has got 81 workers, which is a lot. And Kaon is determined to lose a hell of a lot of units. And you're not going to need more barracks. That's ridiculous. That's the first thing I've seen. It's... oh god. Yeah, a couple of depots might be nice. Have we got any upgrades? Oh, +1 in stim, so this Protoss army may be in for a shock, but then again there is a huge bank on the side of Chen's. And this goon is very lucky, but there aren't any forces here. All the Terran forces are over there. And how many Marines have we got? We've got 93. That's quite a lot. And there are some depots in construction, and immediately, oh god, there is a huge, humongous, nasty battle waging over here. The Marines are being set on liberating their old main, and without medics, and just with stim versus non-upgraded gateway units. That's completely rubbish. And now they are tearing straight into the main, and with a huge portion of the army still caught up over here, it may be difficult for the main base of Chen to hold this, and there aren't any gateways elsewhere. So even though there is a huge bank, all the production is in the main, and that's a dangerous situation. These Marines are going to be kept being funneled in there, and Marine production is at an all-time high. They've got the +1/+1 range and stim with medics, and actual micro might be... oh, there is a medic! Haha, there are medics, but they are mulling about like a bunch of wet hens. And killing all the bases actually, while the main army of Chen, although it's a little bit smaller right now, is still there. And now, oh god, look at that. Look at that. That's the last depot probably. So now max supply can be reached. And Kaon hasn't got all that much money actually. That's strange, and that's maybe because... oh, this is going to be ugly, because there are so many stim Marines now. It's... the damage potential of this army is insane, and these zealots, they evaporate as soon as they are being warped in. And still, there is half of the armies standing outside the base. Have you ever seen a 174, 76 supply army of pure Marine and medic? And that's it. That's GG. Well done, Kaonbot. Next game up. I'm going to go with this one. It's Crazio vs Crazio Protoss. I don't know if I picked this game during the week or if it was a recommendation, but Crazio vs Crazio Protoss is bound to be, or can be very interesting. So let's see if it is going to go at all well. Of course, Crazio Protoss is going for the contain, but there is a scouting SCV out, which might build a barracks here just for fun, but isn't working. So now stuff being warped in, but I think there are too many cannons for Crazio to break out of this without a siege tank. Knowing Crazio, tanks are going to be pretty early, and in the production tab we see 2 tanks with siege mode already here. They are sieging outside of... they can't really range the cannons at this point, okay, but it's very unlikely that Protoss will be able to encroach upon the main base of Terran. And Terran hasn't really got a clue how to defend versus a cannon rush. Instead, floating buildings are taking way too much damage, but now tanks are leapfrogging forward doing damage. And of course the follow-up is going to be, I think there's going to be the Citadel. Tanks are blasting down a lot of stuff. Here comes the Citadel, and I don't know where it is, but it's bound to be warped in. That's going to be the Templar Archives, more bases. So Crazio Protoss is taking advantage of the fact it's got map control, taking a lot of bases, but this turret contain is not going to be long for this world. And then Crazio Terran, which has got a huge army, might just steamroll the Protoss. And that's that, as they say. Meanwhile, we've got 10 army supply over here, and that's one... Oh, that's 3. Here is here. Here is 1 as well. Hard to see, really. A couple of Dark Templars, and of course there is only 1 Comsat, because there is only 1 base for Crazio, so that might still work. Have you got Spider Mines? Yes. Oh, here comes the carrier upgrade. And first carriers, one must assume, are being warped in, but there is only 1 Stargate yet, so that's going to take a while. Meanwhile, Crazio Terran is going to explode on the map. Might do it a little bit more aggressively, because if you've just so decisively beaten... Oh, here come the DTs. And playing Minesweeper with DTs across half the map, it can be quite expensive. But remember, there is only 1 Comsat, so that if these Dark Templar ever arrive anywhere, they might do some horrific damage, because... Oh, lots of Templar dying. So, yeah. This is the game for now. New Comsat starting immediately. That's good. Crazio might have taken a natural as well. Has got the army to defend it. Meanwhile, harassing this base, which is good. Now, the carrier production is sort of there. We've got 2 carriers, 2 more under construction. We've got upgrades. We haven't got the weapons upgrade, so they are not going to be much use against the +1 armor that mech army of Crazio has. Crazio Terran going for the natural now, sitting back for a long time though, while Protoss is taking a lot of bases. That's interesting, and this carrier is going the long way round. Here comes some gateway units, but of course they've got nothing to say towards this mech army. The question is, when will the carriers attack? We have got 5, we've got 3 more under construction, lots of interceptors being built, no +1 weapons or armor or shields even for the Protoss, while Terran of course is getting range and is getting a lot of Goliaths, which is always a nice thing to have if there are going to be carriers. And oh, the carriers are on the loose. And you can see how much time it takes them to take down a single Goliath, taking a lot of damage. And this is not really going to work. The tank can even get killed. These 1-2 carrier attacks are not really all the rage. And now Protoss is defending. Will we get the damage upgrade? No, we will not. But still a lot of carriers. And Crazio Terran has got 3 bases now, 4-1 under a mild form of attack. And now the carriers are in among the tanks, while the Goliaths are a little bit too far ahead and catching some fire from some stray goons and a carrier in the rear. Right now 8 carriers, 5 more under production. That's quite a lot. So Crazio Protoss should have a nice amount of money to do damage with, and is doing some nice harassment over here, which is good, but a couple of Goliaths are coming to clean it up, and upgrade wise these Goliaths are far superior to the interceptors, because they haven't got any upgrades at all. Meanwhile, the carrier fleet is 10. Going to speed it up just a little notch. Crazio Protoss will try to keep his throat clear, keep the natural clear, and is killing a lot of tanks, because the carriers are not really... Well, they are attacked by Goliaths, but they are not really... The Goliaths are not really on point, and this micro of the carriers could be a little bit better as well, because this is just throwing them away. And here comes another one probably, and another one, so that's really an expensive way to play carrier. Meanwhile, this carrier over here is still pestering Crazio, but one cannot help but feel that Crazio Protoss is not really getting ahead, because there are carriers sitting around doing nothing, and the carrier fleet is only 9. Oh, now the +1 and the shields are being researched, but Crazio Terran is fighting somewhat more efficiently. And that's mainly because so many carriers are just getting killed for nothing, which is a bad trade-off. So yeah, there we go, 2 badly damaged carriers trying to get stuff done, but the Goliath count is increasing, although Crazio Protoss has got a huge army lead and a worker lead as well. Crazio Terran is building a lot of SCVs and Goliaths and is trading so effectively, so it must eventually win, one must assume. Natural getting lost, that's not the worst, that's a lot of carriers. How many interceptors are under production? Not all that many, one feels. We've only got... So we need to have 80 interceptors, but They are not all there. So these carriers are not in full battle condition yet. Going to town with one of them on this base, I think that's... You can sort of do that, but then again, Goliaths shut it down. Now the high ground will have to be breached, but the carriers have got... There is so much money, and I fear that there's not enough interceptors just to hold things back. Carrier upgrades finally coming, but Crazier Terran now pushing at the high ground, doing a lot of damage to the carriers. Crazier Protoss is not really going to... not supporting its carrier fleet with a ground army. And that will mean that these carriers can be even more deadly. Now, lots of income though, and lots of carriers just sitting around doing nothing. With a couple of tweaks, this Crazier Protoss carrier play might be a lot more deadly. Now, I fear this cannonball is really hard to attack for these Goliaths. That's hard to do. But Crazier Terran is, well, not really approaching max. It's struggling somehow. The bases are mining out again. Must be careful not to get mined out completely, because Protoss still has got a lot of income. And you can see it right now that the army supplies are about equal, and the carriers, while leading the charge, they can do pretty decent damage, and they're clearing up Crazier's army record speed, and Crazier will have to replenish. Now, the carriers, we've got some carriers from above, some carriers from below. The Goliaths, although they have got the 3-3 at this point, oh, the 2-2 only, can expect some stiff resistance, and Crazio is mining out this base, so Protoss shouldn't really... Ooh, Terran is mining out at all the bases, and Protoss has still got 2 left. Oh, 1.5, really. And some money in the bank, and 2 carriers sitting around on their asses doing nothing. But the carrier fleet is quite impressive. The ground army, well, I'll say that the carrier fleet, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 carriers sitting around doing nothing, and that's basically 1/3 of your carrier strength. That's not good. And Terran still doing a murderous job, but now Terran is mined out. And that will mean that Protoss, who is mined out as well, this is going to be war of attrition. Who will win? Protoss, of course, can regenerate shields, and it looks like all the carriers are being brought to bear into battle, and Crazier Terran can't keep this up. Who is going to get a new base? I don't know who will. These island bases are still notoriously not taken. No bots do that in any kind of dependable way, and that's, I think, in these kind of wars of attrition, it's very important to keep doing that. Interceptor count is 96, that's pretty high. And this base should be top priority. It's available to, well, I would say to Crazier Protoss, but no, it's not going to be. Oh, it's going to be long distance mined. So, yeah, that's it, I believe, because now the interceptor count is rising, and these carriers are still on the loose. Crazio holding strong, but I fear it cannot really, because it can't lose any unit, any turret. Everything it loses is one too many. And although interceptors are being lost at an alarming rate, there is a lot of money in this mineral patch to keep doing this. And even though these attacks are really wearing down the number of interceptors quite rapidly, Crazier's only got 22 army supply, which all is in anti-air mostly. And look at how many interceptors are falling. It's perfect rearguard action over here. This income stream, though, is going to all straight into interceptors. And where is the nexus being constructed? That's complete rubbish. Over here. Yeah, that's worth it. Okay, do the math, Crazio. That was one load of minerals, and that was about it. But now the nexus over here, I think, is going to seal the deal. But the carriers still need to make a lot of headway. The army count of Crazio is now 11. Still a lot of turrets. And now it is over. So Crazier Protoss with a very good game. Could be better, but still to beat Crazier Terran at this point is quite impressive. That's the GG. And we are going to hop into the last game of today, which is Steamhammer versus Xiaoyi COG 2019. So, Steamhammer going for, I'm not going to miss the early battle again, it's 4 Zerglings, and there is only 1 Marine, so that might take some damage. You can see that over here. And now 5 SCVs taking off mining and 1 Zergling heading straight back home for reasons best known. Oh, there is a Marine slipped through. And it's going after the workers. Might be good. Oh, and the Ling shuts it down. And still here some workers taking off mining, but a vulture pops out and seals the Zergling aggression. Now, this is not a fight you want to get into as a Zergling, as you're going to lose it every time. These vultures are a hard counter to small numbers of Zerglings and large numbers as well, so yeah, there you go. And now it kills itself on the Sunken, which is good for Zerg. Steamhammer starting out with a 1 base play, while leaving the lower edge of the mineral line susceptible to vulture harass, and now the vulture harass is going to move itself toward the Terran main. But still vultures over here, the vultures over there, and the mutas are not really doing much. Not even killing this Marine, which must be pretty low. No, I think that Muta Micro is still an area which could be increased in potency with, well, it will take some work, but we all saw Killerbot do it. And there are a couple of other Zergs who can do it, but not really doing it, and they are so very, very deadly if they are in tight formation. You can see this 1 base Zerg play is really doing battle with the 1 base Terran play, which in human play you wouldn't really expect, because the humans could just muster up a force of Marine and Medic and deal with that. And you can see how many SCVs and hit points have been lost in this command center. Still no natural. Oh, and this is just bad. You have to keep sending back mutas and forces. Now, this command center should be a priority for these mutas if you can kill that, because if the Terran will get to 2 bases, yeah, that's well done. Now they retire, so they have the fight won. That's pretty well done. These 2 turrets with the repair are pretty powerful, and as a Terran you might just expand your turret coverage with a little bit because it's so effective. And the mutas are still doing stuff. 1 base taken, and that's a strange decision because it's just a mineral only and it will not actually help you build your muta weapon. Muta's getting pretty low. Have they got upgrades? No, they have nearly got the +1 air armor. And Terran is being kept down, so if this base gets up you will have extra mineral income. And now a Hydra switch, that's strange. Might be lurkers, but you'll need to keep the pressure on with your mutas. But the muta count is pretty low, there are only 7. And they're not getting anything done, and Xiaoyi is now setting up shop at the natural with a small, really not so small anymore, Goliath army, while Steamhammer is taking 1 more base. Drone count still pretty damn low, and I wonder why it's not taking the natural, but that's a reason best known to Steamhammer itself. Now Xiaoyi is not really capable of taking this base because there are all kinds of units standing in the way, and that will be a problem because the main is sort of getting low, and Zerg is now with a couple of Hydras. Zerg building, not all that much. Lots of tech, a couple of drones, not really any army. We have got 8 mutas standing by. Has Terran got any upgrades? Just a range one. And Terran had really better plop down a natural pretty damn quick, because if you let the Zerg rampage on the map unchecked, it's going to be a huge problem. We've got about 10 workers at every base, only 2 gas incomes, but in the end that will allow for a lot of units, and if you are going to sit back and not take a natural, it will be painful. You can build up 1 large mech push, and you will have to cross the map. that is not the best spot to take a base, but if you are out of steam, you will need to come up with a plan B, and without money in your main, and without a natural, that's going to be pretty hard fighting. Now, these Hydras are really gagging for it, attacking into Marine Medic without stim, and a couple of siege tanks on the high ground. That's really brave. And Steamhammer is not really... Oh, it's going for a Defiler Mount now. That's interesting. Not even a mineral only is being taken by Terran. And I fear that this is going to be a big mistake. And Steamhammer could even be more aggressive with the expansion. Worker count still pretty low. But Xiao Yi is just sitting back. Oh, and that's a lot of mutas lost. We had 11. Now we've just lost 3, and one must assume for basically nothing. There are units rampaging the map in every direction. We've got a couple of hatches coming up. Ultra Cavern. Have we got Defilers? Yes, we have got one. Have we got Consumed? Nearly. And we've got a bit of Hydras, but this mech army is pretty damn strong. But the main is mined out, and it's the only mech army there is. And Steamhammer plain refuses to take another base, even while the main is getting low. And it's got that many hatches. It's got so many... Well, it's keeping its larvae down quite well. But it should be taking more bases, so it can replenish instantly. And still, in army size, Terran's army is 1.5 times stronger than Zerg's. And the fighting value is, I'd say, about 3 times that of the Zerg army. And now, what will Zerg do? Zerg has got the advantage. We've got 86, 87. Nice plague. That's very expensive. This Defiler is still in the line of fire. Another plague going off. That's a lot of plagues. That's very expensive if you got a mech army which you cannot replenish. And actually, this Hydra thing is working versus the mech army, because there is just so much plague going off left, right, and center. Here comes another one. That's just not supportable, and Shappy's army is plummeting in supply. And Steamhammer is doing things the slow and meticulous way. Lots of upgrades all across the board. And yeah, with one Defiler and some decent play, this game is won. So thank you everyone suggesting games. They have been really good. Keep them coming. Next week, Shankar will be up with his broadcast again. And never forget, the deadline for this tournament's finals this year will be the 22nd of December. Do not miss it. Thank you all for watching and coding. Keep it coming and have a nice week. Goodbye.